It's a little bit of an animal rental market at the moment, and people are looking for the edge. Prospective tenants are looking for the edge. So this morning we've got expert property manager, leasing assistant Sienna to talk about what applications, what she looks for in an application when she's processing them every day. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
7:47 a.m. Good morning.
Yeah. How are ya?
Good. Jade's birthday? Daughter's birthday?
Happy birthday to my
Happy
18-year-old
birthday, Jade!
girl! Jade
Kisses
Novak
and hugs from everyone.
18. Oh, how exciting. My youngest little girl, Jade's turned 18, and I'm pretty chuffed.
A bit nervous, Mark, would you say?
Yeah, like I went
Next
through,
chapter.
you know how Apple does ID face check thing, and it IDs all the photos. I did it for her last night. There was 1,850 photos of with her in my phone. So I sort of went. Well, last night I went through them, and yeah, pretty cool.
Oh, that's so nice. And you're going to Chinese tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to China Doll. Yeah, so in Woolloomooloo, and take her out. She's got a party on Saturday night. So happy birthday, little Jade.
Oh, happy birthday, Jade.
So Sienna,
yesterday.
Hey?
Valentine's Day yesterday, Mark.
Yeah. So how did you go? You went out to Wharf Bar?
Yes, I went to a Wharf Bar. Funny story, actually. If you all may know, Love Island, it's a reality TV show, and they essentially did it at Manly Wharf Bar. That was called Manly Island. Now, I thought this was going to be an event where you get on stage and do some speed dating or something along the lines of that. But I walk in and it's essentially just a bunch of single people talking to each other with like these speed date cards that you pass around. Anyways, moving forward, it was not my scene, but I did meet a few lovely people.
So it was a bit of a single, ready to mingle sort of party.
Yeah. Not what I expected.
What a good idea for Manly Wharf Bar, though.
Oh, yeah. It was popping off, though. A lot of people were there.
How good's that?
Yeah.
All right, applications, everyone out there. So Sienna and the team are processing probably about 100 applications a week for individuals, maybe even north of that. And we thought sometimes it's not so obvious. So we thought we'd talk about what are the obvious things that a property manager and property officers are looking for when they're processing rental applications to give you the edge as a prospective tenant. And some of the things we may go through, you may go, oh my God, I never thought about that. That's so logical. Some of the things you may go through, yeah, of course, I do that. I do that when I apply for the property. But, you must, when you don't get accepted, it does people's head in. So let's arm people up this morning to put in the best rental application they possibly can put forward. So if we did it by way of, top to bottom in a rental application. So first of all, the application that an agent wants to see, do they want to see one off their website? Do they want to see one off realestate.com? Is there a preference? Because you can get these rental applications in a couple of forms.
Look, there's a few ways you can submit your application in. Now, these days, a lot of people do it digitally, which is easy for property managers and tenants, just because you'll have all your information online. So if you were to submit another application into another rental property, you have that on your phone. And also it verifies documentation. Ticker Check is a great system where you can see tenants that are currently being blacklisted, who have obviously had issues with previous tenancies. Another way as well, which is kind of the old-fashioned way, is coming into the agency directly and speaking to the property manager and filling in a hard copy application, which is a thumbs up as well, because the best way to secure a rental property is talk to the property manager directly.
Pretty old-fashioned.
Yeah.
But pretty cool, I guess, if you're sitting opposite the property manager and you're going through the application, you're saying g'day, you're filling it, it's on the spot, there it is, what else do you need? I guess a big thing that I've got to say, guys, with rental applications, probably the number one complaint that I hear from property managers and property and letting officers and assistants and the stuff is lack of information or requesting information. So I think if you can get all of the information in upfront, concise, and create less work for whoever's processing, because whoever's processing the application will most likely just turn over to another applicant if they're missing essential documentation. What is that essential documentation you want to see aside an application?
Yep. So obviously we want to see a proof of income. So if you're currently a sole trader, or if you are an employee, pay slips is really important to show your landlords. What I do like to say to my prospective tenants is, if you were a landlord, what do you want to see?
Yep.
Now, most of them come back with me is bank statement, pay slips, references. We love written references. Mark and I were talking this before we got on the podcast, is if you are coming from overseas, you're an international student and you are studying here, getting as many references as you can from friends, families, employees, and also from your teachers or professors at TAFE University as well. We can get a sense of your judge of character as well.
Okay. Oh, look, we've got a comment from a member. Hola, mi nombre ijab are padera za ulfremene na kartorazer morera clare a €700. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Very nice. Very nice.
Beautiful.
Nice person. So Sienna, I guess essentially it's just painting a really nice story, isn't it? Like, an owner wants to feel warm and fuzzy when someone's going in. They want to see that there's that ability to pay. They want to see that there's that ability to nurture and look after the property as well. So previous history is a hard one because sometimes people don't have a previous history or a reputable one. So, for instance, they can't substantiate that they were renting privately from a landlord, a private landlord. How do you get around that?
Look, we understand everyone's going to start somewhere. So our best suggestion is getting provided either a tenant ledger or a written reference, as I said. Usually when international students come from overseas and we can't necessarily contact their landlord directly over the phone, getting a signed lease agreement or something proof that they were actually renting from that landlord and that property. And also there is databases out there that we have on our computer that can show that as well and can verify who's renting that property, who owns that property, and the history behind that property.
Yeah, just keep an eye on that, Mr. Prospective Tenant, because sometimes you'll say you're renting from this person and we can identify they're not the owner of the property.
And look, we get that a lot as well, not necessarily people lying, but people kind of getting around it. A lot of people may say, oh, we're on the lease agreement, but they're actually an occupant on the lease. Which doesn't necessarily tell us that you are a tenant of the property and what has happened and why are you staying there.
So in summary, where we've come so far is make sure it's accurately filled out, the application, make sure there's really good support documentation, see if you can get opposite the property manager, create a really, really good story for the property. What are the things that you've seen on an application where you go, that is just stupid, why would you put that on your application?
Look, when you first go on to apply, one of the application links that usually our agents send out is that there's a description on the link that says, tell us a little bit about yourself. And sometimes you get people say, oh, I love swimming, I love this, I like reading. We don't necessarily want to hear what your hobbies are. We want to necessarily see, why do you want to move into this property, what your current situation is, what do you... Correct. Yeah. So I think that's one of the most silliest things I've seen, is that we don't necessarily want to know what your hobbies are. We want to know why you want to move into this property and why are you going to be the best tenant and why we should choose you.
Hey, I got a good one. Just a good old fashioned photo if you're a couple, single, family. I think sometimes the passport photo looks like people have been in jail. So I think sometimes just a warm and fuzzy, you can say, look, they look like really nice people. Together with that backstory, while why they're moving, qualifying at the end, he goes, yeah, cool. They sound like really nice people. So that's really good. I think also giving your employer a heads up that they're going to get a call from us always preps for readiness. So when the employer calls, they're sort of not like, it's like, yep, Mary's great. She's been with us a couple of years. She's consistent. She's good at a job. It's like, cool, thank you. Tick, tick, cross, cross, whatever we're doing. Anything else before we go that you're watching out for?
Two things I want to mention to all my prospective tenants. Look, it's high demand, low stock in DY, particularly at the moment. I was just taking a look at realestate.com and we have about 23 rental properties on the market at the moment. What I'm seeing as well is that I believe prospective tenants need to submit an application in before you go and inspect the property. I think this is really vital to help you secure that property straight away. So you got your first foot in the door. It takes 24 hours to 48 hours to process your application, verify your documentation. It also gives the property manager and the leasing agents an opportunity to give you a call before the open home to confirm details and get anything we need. So when you come to the open home, you can express your interest to the agent, say you want to move forward, and we can have an answer to you by the end of the day. And also, punctuation is key. Don't show up to the open home 10 minutes late. It's a bad look.
It's a bad, well, yeah, I think also it's the logical, like if an owner's, it's often making the agent late for their next open house, and it's just common sense. Do you know what I mean? Like I think it just shows you're consistent and you're reliable. So make sure you're doing consistent and reliable actions when following up your application or putting in your application or inspecting the property, because that's the stuff the landlord's looking for. So we act for the landlord. We want to paint a great story for you, for the landlord. Help us.
That doesn't mean we don't love you guys, though. We love our renters.
Help us. Thanks, Sienna, so much for everything today, and good luck out there in the rental world, guys, with your applications. And if you need any help, just call us, even if you're out of the area.
8978 6888, guys.
Hey, see ya.
See ya.